Hello students, we will be starting our next lecture in current electricity. In the last class we covered the concept of electric current and we also discussed the concept of drift velocity. Only part of it we did relation between drift velocity and the electric field. Now when we discuss what is electric current, actually we dealt at length with the concept of potential difference, which is very crucial for maintaining continuous flow of current through a circuit, right? Now we will see what exactly the dependence of potential difference on electric current. You see, if I take a conductor out here, this is magnified view of a conductor, and apply a variable potential difference out here, and also connect an ammeter to determine how much current is flowing through this conductor. We will find that more is the applied potential difference, more is the current. In fact, in case of metals, this relation is a linear relation. It was studied by a German physicist, Simon Ohm. So we will be studying Ohm's law. The law says that more is the applied potential difference, greater is the amount of current flowing through a conductor. We can also say like this: more is the current, more is the applied potential difference, and vice versa. More the potential difference, more is the electric current. So we will say current flowing through a conductor is directly proportional to applied potential difference provided that temperature remains constant. Current flowing through a conductor is directly proportional to the applied potential difference provided that temperature remains constant. So applied potential difference V is directly proportional to the current I, or V equals to I into R, where children R is a constant of proportionality and R is called what? Resistance of the conductor. Now what is significance of resistance? When I close the key out here, a current is set up in the circuit and electrons start moving like this. This is how the electrons start moving. Right? As the electrons move in opposite direction, all these electrons, remember, are set in motion together. As an electric wave is set up through the conductor, because of the application of potential difference, all the electrons set into motion simultaneously and a current starts flowing through the circuit. Now when electrons are moving through the conductor, then the metal has a natural tendency to oppose the flow of electrons, and that actually is called resistance. Okay. Now metals have low resistance, alloys have more resistance than the metals, and non-metals have much higher resistance. So resistance is a specific property of a conductor by the virtue of which it opposes the flow of charges through it, and R is equal to how much? V by I. So you can see for the same current, for the same potential difference, if current is less, that means resistance is high, and for the same potential difference, if current is high, then the resistance is low. So you need to keep in mind the resistance of metals is less than resistance of alloys and is less than the resistance of non-conductors. So non-conductors have what? Maximum resistance, and metals have minimum resistance. So let us understand the factors on which, but before that, unit of resistance, you already know, you are in class 10, unit of resistance is ohm. We denote it by omega. Unit of resistance is ohm, we denote it by what? Omega. If V is equal to 1 volt and I is equal to 1 ampere, then R is equal to 1 volt per ampere or 1 ohm. That means 1 ohm is equal to 1 volt per ampere. So how we define 1 ohm resistance? If 1 ampere current flows through a circuit while potential difference across is 1 volt, then the resistance will be how much? 1 ohm. So we can write it down. If 1 ampere current flows through a conductor while a potential difference of 1 volt is applied across it, then its resistance is 1 ohm. Now 1 ohm is the resistance when 1 ampere current flows through a conductor while a potential difference of 1 volt is applied across it. Okay. Let us see what are basic units of resistance. Basic units of resistance. Resistance, children, is W by V by I. If I write dimensional formula and V is W by Q by I, resistance will be, if I write a dimensional formula, then work is ml square t to the power minus 2. Q is ampere into time and current is ampere. So you can see it will be m L square t to the power minus 3 per ampere square. Okay. Now, so if you want to write the basic units, children, it will be kilogram meter square per second cube per ampere square. So this will be the basic units of resistance. So we discussed Ohm's law and we discussed unit of resistance, SI unit, and also its basic unit, which is important for you to know for various competitive examinations. They ask you this basic units. Now children, there is a question: is Ohm's law an universal law? Is it obeyed by all the conductors? The answer is no. We will be seeing later on that there are so many conductors which do not obey Ohm's law. Ohm's law gives us a linear relation between V and I. Linear relation meaning, if I plot a graph between V and I take different values of V and I plot them, and join all these points together, and I find that the graph is a straight line, then Ohm's law is obeyed. Suppose current here is I1, V1, current is I2, applied potential is V2, I3, applied potential is V3. Clear? If the graph is a straight line, it shows Ohm's law is being obeyed, and then resistance will be R will be delta V by delta I, which will be essentially equal to slope of VI graph. So wherever we will see a linear graph between V and I, then we will have to assume that Ohm's law is being obeyed. But linear graph not necessarily should pass through the origin, but in most of the case, in case of metal, it will pass through the origin, but then there will be exceptions also where it may not pass through the origin. We will be discussing. The graph could be like this, but the primary condition is that the graph should be a straight line. If VI graph is not a straight line, Ohm's law is not followed, okay, not obeyed. Now children, once you understood this, then we will be discussing factors influencing let us discuss factors on which the resistance depend. Factors influencing resistance of a conductor, Let us see the factors on which resistance of a conductor depend. The first factor is length. Children, the resistance of a conductor is directly proportional to length. Always bear in mind, resistance is offered when you are doing drift velocity. We discussed, as the conductors are travelling, as electrons are travelling through a conductor, then they keep on colliding. Okay. If the length of the conductor is long, there will be more collisions among electrons as they are travelling through the conductor, and this will increase the resistance. Very simple. So resistance is directly proportional to length. For example, if I take two wires which are equally thick, suppose this is one wire and this is another wire, they are equally thick, but this wire is longer than this wire. So the second wire, which is longer in length, will be having more resistance. This is what it means. If I double the length, the resistance will be doubled. If I make the length half, the resistance will become half. The resistance is directly proportional to length. Number 2, cross section area A. Second factor is cross section area. Now see, I have one conductor whose cross section area is this here, very small, you can see, and but another conductor whose cross section area is more. If cross section area is more, this will give more space for movement of electrons through it, and if there will be more space for electrons to move, there will be less frequent collisions, and if collisions are less, the resistance will be less. So we can sum up like this, that resistance is inversely proportional to cross section area. It means more the area, less the resistance. If the resistance is less, it can carry more current, right? That is why you have seen the high tension wires, they are thick. High tension wires are made thick because when the cross section area is more, the resistance will be less and the current carrying capacity will increase. If we combine these two, combining, R is directly proportional to L by A, or R is equal to rho into L by A. Now here we have another constant, which is a very specific constant, rho. How you pronounce this? Rho, RHO. Rho is called specific resistance or resistivity. So here we have a new constant, children, rho. Rho is called specific resistance or resistivity, and rho is equal to R into A by L. R into A by L. So what is resistivity? If area is 1 and length is 1, if I put A is 1, L is 1, then rho will be equal to how much? R. That means resistivity of a conductor is equal to resistance of a conductor having unit cross section area and unit length. So we can define resistivity also. Hence, resistivity of a conductor is equal to resistance of a conductor having unit length and unit cross section area. So if length is 1, cross section area is 1, so you can also say in brief having unit volume. Okay. So resistivity of a conductor is equal to resistance of a conductor having unit length, unit cross section area. Now resistivity is a more fundamental property of a conductor. Resistivity does not depend upon shape and size, meaning it does not depend upon whether the wire is long or short. It also does not depend upon cross section area. It only depends upon temperature. We will be discussing later on. So you have to know the resistivity does not depend upon length and cross section area. This is an important concept. Resistivity does not depend upon length and cross section area. Now what is unit of resistivity? Unit. Rho is equal to, children, R into A by L. We know that R is ohm, is meter square divided by meter. So unit is ohm meter. What is unit of resistivity? Ohm meter. Okay. So here we discussed dependence of resistance on length, directly proportional and inversely proportional. This is an important formula that you come across. Now there is another term that we use, it is called conductivity. Conductivity, we denote it by sigma. Conductivity, children, is defined as reciprocal of resistivity. Conductivity sigma is equal to 1 by rho, and rho here we already know, R into A by L. So if you take its ulta, reciprocal, sigma will be how much? L by RA. L by R into A. So this is sigma. So what will be unit of resistivity, children? Unit of conductivity. Unit of conductivity will be per ohm per meter, or mho per meter, or Siemens per meter. So you can use all these units: per ohm per meter, mho per meter, or Siemens. Siemens is also denoted as SM. SM per meter. Alright. So any of the units you can use, either per ohm per meter or mho per meter or Siemens per meter. Okay. So we discussed this. Two factors on which the resistance depends. We also discussed resistivity and conductivity. Conductivity is also called specific conductance of a conductor. Okay, children. Now, so there are two factors that affect resistance of a conductor that we discussed. Now let's see temperature. Effect of temperature on resistance. What is the effect of temperature of the conductor on resistance? Let us see, for example, I consider this duster to be a metallic conductor. If I heat this, then what will happen? Despite the fact that I have already applied a potential difference across it and the electrons having a streamlined flow in a direction from negative terminal to positive terminal, if I increase the temperature, then electrons will gain more thermal energy, and when electrons will gain more thermal energy, they will be more agitated and they will be colliding more, and when the collisions will increase, then this will increase the temperature. So bear in mind that resistance of metallic conductors, not semiconductors, metallic conductor, resistance of metallic conductors will increase with increase in temperature. So let's say like this: resistance of metals increases with increase in temperature. Okay. So how it increases? Increase is directly proportional to increase in resistance is directly proportional to resistance at 0 degree Celsius. This is the first factor. Increase in resistance directly equal to resistance at 0 degree Celsius, and also increase in resistance is directly proportional to increase in temperature. Increase in temperature. So increase in resistance depends upon how many factors? Two. Increase in resistance is directly equal to resistance at 0 degree Celsius, and increase in resistance is again directly equal to increase in temperature. So let's assume, let resistance at 0 degree Celsius is R0 and resistance at T degree Celsius is RT. Then we know that RT will be more than R0. So what is increase? Increase in resistance, children. RT is the final resistance and R0 is initial resistance. So what will be the increase? RT minus R0. RT minus R0 is directly equal to resistance at 0 degree Celsius means R0. This is 1, and again if you use second condition, RT minus R0 is directly equal to increase in temperature. If I combine 1 and 2, if I combine these two relations, combining we will get RT minus R0 is directly proportional to R0 into T. Clear? RT minus R0 will be equal to alpha into R0 into T. Alpha is a new constant, is called temperature coefficient of resistance. Alpha is called temperature coefficient of resistance. From here we get two relations. RT is equal to R0 plus R0 alpha into T. So you can write this as RT is equal to R0 into 1 plus alpha into T. This is the first relation again. And again from here alpha can be written as RT minus R0 divided by R0 into T. So we get two relations here. One is for resistance at T degree Celsius, R0 into 1 plus alpha into T, and alpha is equal to RT minus R0 divided by R0 into T, right? Now, if I say R0 is equal to 1 and T is equal to 1, then RT minus R0 will be how much here? Alpha. So what we can say is the temperature coefficient of resistance is equal to increase in resistance of a conductor if its resistance at 0 degree Celsius is 1 ohm and increase in temperature is 1 degree Celsius. Okay. And children, what will be unit of alpha? Unit of alpha, if you use, then you can see here if I use ohm and ohm will cancel out. So it will be per degree Celsius or per Kelvin. This you can keep in mind. Remember, metals have positive value for alpha. It is important to know. Alloys have a small positive value for alpha. This should also be remembered. Each and every material has got a fixed value for temperature coefficient of resistance. Okay. Now, if you plot a graph, graphically if I want to study, then the graph will come something like this. If we plot a graph between T, temperature and resistance, let me draw it here. If we graphically want to study this, variation of resistance with respect to temperature, obviously it will be having a linear character, it will be a straight line, and it will also have an intercept on y axis. If y axis is representing resistance, it will be something like this. This is temperature in degrees Celsius. This is how the graph will come. This is R and this is temperature. Only at a negative value of temperature the resistance will come 0. This will be R0. Clear, children? And its slope will be alpha. Slope will be how much? Alpha. The graph will be a straight line. Okay. So this should be kept in mind. For metal, this is the graph we'll be getting. The graph between resistance and temperature will be a linear graph. Okay. You should remember this graph also. Now, next thing is, so we saw three factors. One is length, then we saw cross section area, and we saw temperature. We can modify this temperature equation once also. If resistance at T1 degree Celsius is R1 and resistance at T2 degree Celsius is R2, then we can have another equation also. R2 is equal to R1 into 1 plus alpha into T2 minus T1. Again, this graph can be plotted in the same way and this graph will be linear. There are two more factors. One is temperature. Remember, resistance of metal will decrease. Temperature already did. Sunlight. Next one is sunlight. In presence of sunlight, resistance of a conductor will decrease. Bear this in mind. What will be the magnetic field? If a magnetic field is applied across a conductor, then charges will not be able to move along straight line path. In most of the cases, they will move along what? Circular path, and that will increase the resistance. So, when you apply magnetic field across a conductor, generally speaking, the resistance will increase. Okay. So, these two factors also you should be knowing. So, we saw all the factors which are affecting resistance of a conductor. Now, factors influencing resistivity. Rho. It is interesting to know, for a given conductor, if I give you two conductors, suppose one is made up of silicon, the other is made up of copper, and the third is made of aluminum. They have same cross section and same length. We know resistance is directly equal to rho into L by A, right? If for conductors L and A are same, then you can see the resistance will depend upon resistivity, right? So, it is important for us to study as to what are the factors on which resistivity depend. Very important. Resistivity depends upon two things. First one is nature or material of the conductor. You see, resistivity is independent of length and cross section area, means it does not depend upon dimensions or geometry of the conductor. Resistivity does not depend upon that. It only depends upon material of the conductor or nature of the conductor. Each conductor has a different resistivity. Now, for example, metals have low resistivity. Alloys have more than that of the metals, is important for you to know, and non-metals have very large resistivity. Second one is temperature. Temperature is a very key factor affecting resistivity. Remember, resistivity of a metallic conductor increases with increase in temperature. Resistivity of metals increases with increase in temperature. And the relationship is resistivity at T degree Celsius is resistivity of at 0 degree Celsius into 1 plus alpha into T. This relation is somewhat similar to what we did when we studied dependence of resistance on temperature. Alpha, as you see here, is alpha is temperature coefficient of resistance. If I plot this graph, then this graph will be something like this, rho, and this will be T, right? Now, if this is rho 0, if rho 0 is 0, then the same graph will pass through origin. This is rho and this is T. So, this will be graphs for metals. One thing which is similar between two graphs of metals is when you increase in temperature, you can see resistivity is increasing in both the cases. However, rho for semiconductors decreases with increase in temperature. Now this is very interesting. If we plot a graph for semiconductors, this is rho and this is T, you must know this graph. Then the resistivity is decreasing, it comes something like this. This is an exponential graph going downwards. You can see as I am increasing temperature, resistivity graph is coming down. So in this discussion, we understood the resistivity of metals will increase with increase in temperature, and only two factors will be affecting resistivity of metals. One is nature of the metal and the other one is temperature. And we learnt a very interesting thing, the resistivity of semiconductors decreases with increase in temperature. Clear? And this should be kept in mind. Now I will be discussing another term that will come across. It is called current density. What is current density? When we define electric current, children, we said that current is the amount of charge which is flowing through a conductor in 1 second perpendicular to the cross section area of the conductor. Clear? Now this is a conductor. Let us see magnified view. This is the cross section area of the conductor through which current is flowing like this. Now this conductor has got a certain cross section area. Current flowing through this is how much? I. Now amount of current which is flowing through, remember this current is flowing through this cross section area. This is the cross section area through which the current is flowing. It is perpendicular, means it is in the same direction in which the area vector is directed. Remember the area vector we did in Gauss theorem, right? The amount of current which is flowing through unit cross section area of a conductor at right angle, that is called current density. Current density. Current density. Its symbol, children, is J. And the current density is actually regarded as a vector. Current, because it flows in a fixed direction, current flowing through unit cross section area perpendicular to the surface is called current density. Current density. So current density J will be equal to how much? Current divided by area, cross section area. So J will be equal to how much? I by A. And children, what will be its unit? Its unit will be ampere per meter square. Ampere per meter square. Many times we will be told to calculate current flowing through a given cross section area. If current density in area is given, so this direction will become very crucial. Let us see a situation out here. Suppose this is the cross section area. This is the cross section area here. This is the conductor, and this is how the current density is directed. Now what I will have to do, I will have to take a component of this area perpendicular to the surface. This is area vector A, this angle is theta. So what I will do, I will have a component of J in direction of A. So in this case, if current is perpendicular, if we cross multiply, then current I is equal to J into A. I can directly use. If current density is perpendicular to surface area. However, if the angle between the area vector and current density is theta, then here I will be equal to J into A cos theta, or I will be equal to J dot A. If I sum up for non-uniform surface by use calculus, then I will be written as J dot dA. We can integrate current density over the given surface area to calculate how much is total current. For example, consider this cross section. Suppose it is a cylindrical conductor, radius is how much? R, and current density is directed what? Perpendicular to the given surface. So in this case, I will be equal to J into A, J into pi into R square. If I use this formula, then I will be J into pi R square cos theta, and if required, we will be integrating. So we understood the concept of current density. Remember, it is a vector quantity and it is directed perpendicular to the given surface area, perpendicular to the given cross section area, sorry, not surface area, perpendicular to the given cross section area. If there is an angle, then we will use J into A cos theta for numericals. Bear this in mind. Now children, we will be seeing vector form of Ohm's law, and this vector form of Ohm's law is basically a relation between electric field applied across a given conductor and current density. Let us say this is a unique relation. Let us say there is a conductor out here. We are discussing magnified view of a conductor. I will make it look big so you can understand it better. This is a conductor. Generally a conductor is cylindrical. Length of the conductor is L. This side is positively charged, this side is negatively charged. You know that we are providing a potential difference with the help of a battery, right? I can as well draw a battery out here, and I can put a key, right, and assume the potential difference across the conductor is V. Let length of the conductor is V, L, and potential difference across the conductor is V. So if applied potential difference is V and length of the conductor is L, then you know electric field across the conductor E is equal to how much, children? V by L. So I can say from here that V is equal to E into L. This is equation 1. Clear? Now resistance R is equal to rho into L by A. We know this also. V equals to E into L, R is equal to rho into L by A. You already discussed this. Rho is what? Resistivity. Therefore children, current I is equal to V by R. Current I is equal to V by R, and how much V, children? E into L divided by rho into L by A. This is cancelling out, and this A will go in numerator. Then we get I is equal to E into A divided by rho. E into A divided by rho. Now I can write this relation as by rearranging I by A is equal to E by rho. Can I write like this? Now how much is I by A? I by A is J, current density, we discussed just now, and 1 by rho is equal to sigma. Yes. So here I will say, but I by A is equal to J and 1 by rho is equal to sigma. So if I substitute these values out here, then what do I get? I by A is equal to J, J is equal to 1 by rho is equal to sigma, sigma into E. Now this is a very important relation, comes in exam also by derivation. Current density J is equal to 1 by rho is sigma, sigma into E. And this is in vector form. If I write in vector form, I can write J vector is equal to here sigma into E vector, and this is called vector form of Ohm's law. Vector form of Ohm's law. So vector forms of Ohm's law here is sigma J is equal to sigma into E. Remember that's important relation we got, where J is current density, sigma is conductivity, and E is the applied electric field, right? So this is the last derivation we did, vector form of Coulomb's, vector form of Ohm's law, right? So we will be discussing only this much in this class. Okay, thank you very much.